Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and today I'm going to talk to you about some positive news coming from the Middle East. Hamas has, in principle, accepted some of the terms and conditions of the plan proposed by Donald Trump. And if all things hold, the most unbelievable thing could happen, that we might have some peace in the Middle East finally. Now, it doesn't, there's no guarantees what could happen. Everything could go wrong tomorrow. And there are no mechanisms in place that would ensure that Netanyahu would behave himself and he would maintain peace, and whether or not he will uphold his end of the bargain, especially after the hostages have been released. But nevertheless, there was general fear that Hamas might not agree to these conditions, because there was all this talk about how the plan had been altered by Netanyahu and Donald Trump after the plan that was developed in discussions and in concert with the Arab and Islamic countries when Donald Trump met with them at the UN General Assembly, the UNGA's annual summit in New York. So there was all this chatter coming from the Middle East that it was very clear that the plan was already tempered even before. And of course, clearly Hamas had played no role or provided no input into this plan proposed by Donald Trump. So that was a concern for us, but the news has come. Donald Trump himself has announced it, and I will show the Truth Social post, which clearly suggests this. This is what Donald Trump announced. He said, based on the statement just issued by Hamas, I believe they are ready for a lasting peace. Israel must immediately stop the bombing of Gaza so that we can get the hostages out safely and quickly. Right now, it's far too dangerous to do that. We are already in discussions on details to be worked out. This is not about Gaza alone. This is about long-sought peace in the Middle East. So, clearly, besides announcing it, he has also, in a way, ordered Israel to stop bombing of Gaza. How can there be more violence going on after this? And the fact that Donald Trump needed to tell that to Netanyahu clearly shows that even the Trump administration has a pretty good idea that if there's going to be violations, it's probably going to come from the Israeli side. So this is the good news. And Donald Trump then went on to post. I'm reading your comments. Once I finish my commentary, then I'll be happy to take your questions and your comments. And yes, Sabun, it is 2 a.m. here in Washington, D.C. But I'm now back home in Delaware, but it's 2 a.m. in Delaware too. Yes, and I just finished a live show with Satya Hindi, so I thought I might also record my English commentary before I go to bed. So I also want to share with you the post. This was shared by Donald Trump himself, and it is very critical to see what Hamas has accepted and what Hamas has not said anything about. So from this post, you can see that first of all, the first sentence itself that is part of Hamas's response is quite interesting. It says, "Out of keenness to end the aggression and genocide." So they did mention that there was a genocide being carried out against our steadfast people in the Gaza Strip. And so they said that it is because there's a genocide going on and we feel responsible about it. We have decided to accept Donald Trump's peace plan, and this is our response. And so they are quite deferential to the Arabs. On more than one occasion in this, they have recognized the mediation of Arab and Islamic countries. So it says Hamas appreciates the Arab, Islamic, and international efforts, as well as the efforts of the US President Donald Trump, calling for an end to the war on the Gaza Strip, the exchange of prisoners. This particular paragraph is interesting because if the peace holds and there is some discussion for a Nobel Prize, clearly, if peace holds, even I would recommend that Donald Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. He's done way, way more than any recent American president since Bill Clinton, really. So I would suggest that, yeah, he should be given a Nobel Peace Prize. But the way Hamas has phrased it, Hamas appreciates Arab Islamic international efforts, so that's the UN, So it's quite possible that Donald Trump might have to share the Nobel Prize with, say, Qatar, Turkey, maybe even the United Nations. Uh, and so that would be interesting to see if that happens. Anyway, so this is what Hamas has accepted. It says, within this framework and in a manner that achieves an end to the war and full withdrawal from the Strip, the movement announces its approval of releasing all occupation prisoners, both living and their remains. So this is it. So the threat that Donald Trump had issued, that unless they did it by Sunday, they would be held to pay, and so they are releasing the hostages. So pressure on Netanyahu from one particular constituency, the families of the hostages, will, I guess, subside once this really happens. And then the part is whether Israel fulfills its part of it and withdraws or searches for excuses to continue the war now that the hostages are released. And that is the most critical part, where Donald Trump will have to really ensure that Netanyahu doesn't use some excuse or manufacture an excuse to continue to kill and murder and maim, to continue with the genocide, basically, that his government seems to be committed to at the moment. Then the movement, Hamas, also reaffirms its approval to hand over the administration of the Gaza Strip. Now, this is an amazing thing, that Hamas has agreed that it is going to hand over Gaza to the Palestinian Body of Independence. So the technocratic government that Donald Trump is recommending, of which he's going to be chairman. So there's no mention of whether they accept Donald Trump's chairmanship or not. But now this is going to be directly governed by Donald Trump and Tony Blair. I think that should not be allowed. I hope some Arab country will try and block that. Tony Blair is a war criminal. He should be in jail. As simple as that. Tony Blair is a war criminal. He should be in jail and not be given a prestigious position. He had a chance when he was leading the quartet, and he achieved nothing, absolutely nothing. So this loser should be in prison and not in charge of Palestine. And then the most important thing, there is no mention of disarmament. So it is not very clear whether Hamas is going to disarm, put down its arms, and essentially cease to exist as a military force, because that's what the Israelis demand, right? That they should cease to exist as a military force. Donald Trump also posted a video in which he basically thanked Arab countries.
Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, and so many others. So many people fought so hard. This is a big day. We'll see how it all turns out. We have to get the final word down in concrete. Very importantly, I look forward to having the hostages come home to their parents, and having some of the hostages, unfortunately, you know the condition they're in, come home likewise to their parents, because their parents wanted them just as much as though that young man or young woman were alive. So I just want to let you know that this is a very special day, maybe unprecedented in many ways. It is unprecedented, but thank you all, and thank you all to those great countries that helped. We were given a tremendous amount of help. Everybody was unified in wanting this war to end and seeing peace in the Middle East.
So one of the remarkable things that Donald Trump has achieved is he has got all these countries, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Qatar, Egypt, Turkey, Pakistan, Indonesia, all of them to agree to this proposal. Broadly, they were supportive of it, including United Arab Emirates and Israelis on this. Of course, the Palestinian Authority was also, I guess, supporting this. And now Hamas has also agreed to the plan. So this is a major achievement by any American president since Bill Clinton's. And this is something that neither G.W. Bush, who tried with Condoleezza Rice to gain some headway here, neither did Obama nor Joe Biden. So Donald Trump has shown some progress here. And whether this thing works out or not, this is still a step forward, but it has happened after a lot of violence. We have not heard much. I was looking to see how Iran would respond to this announcement. There was no mention whether Iran was at all consulted at all or not. But Hamas does say that we consulted all our connections, I guess. So they may have also spoken with Iran. But the question now is whether the next step, whether Israel will release all the prisoners that it promised to release, and whether it will withdraw. According to Donald Trump's plan, it has to. I mean, there are stages on which it will start withdrawing, and so will it fulfill the first stage? So the first stage itself is before the hostages are released. Only on the agreement of the hostage agreement release will the Israelis start withdrawing. And then how are they going to constitute the ISF? That also needs to be negotiated. So far, we have not heard which countries are going to volunteer. In the past, United Arab Emirates had mentioned that it would provide troops for maintaining the ceasefire and peace on the grounds, but we have no idea as to whose troops are going to constitute the international stabilization force. And if Hamas is not governing as of now, then who is in charge of Gaza? These are very serious questions going forward. But as I said, the best part of this plan was immediate, unlimited aid to be provided to the people of Gaza. They are suffering, they need food, they're starving. They say more than 500 of them have died of hunger. That's a very, very painful way of dying. And so we need medical aid, we need food aid, we need shelter. Winter is coming soon, and 80% of buildings have been destroyed, so there has to be reconstruction of Gaza. That will take time. Will the money come? And once the fighting stops, will media's attention will definitely shift to other issues, and in the absence of media's constant coverage, will there be the same degree of urgency in Washington and Arab capitals to help Gaza? That's another question. So it's important for civil society organizations and people like me who have alternate media sources to continue to keep up the pressure on all the governments to fulfill their side of the obligation to ensure that before winter comes, Palestinians have shelters so that they don't have to die of cold. And the second part is that food aid and continues to flow in, and reconstruction of Gaza begins in earnest. And at some point, they have to start talking about how Gaza will be governed, how it will be united with West Bank, what will happen to the promise of the two-state solution. So ultimately, all that will come later. But the first step is there should be immediate aid and some clarity on how Gaza is going to be governed soon. So those are my observations that I wanted to share with you all. And now if there are some questions or comments, I'll be happy to take them. I do want to remind some of you who are regular viewers of Conversation that I did give a lecture in Washington, D.C. on Gandhi Jayanti, on the birthday of Mahatma Gandhi, on truth in public policy. They gave me a very nice memento. This is a chakra, it is called. And this is quite symbolic of Mahatma Gandhi. And so I do want you all to see. I posted the video of that particular talk just a few hours ago. So because it is not about geopolitics, some of you may ignore it, but do watch it. I talk about the importance of truth in public policy, in government, in the corporate sector, in civil society, even in individual. So essentially, life in public policy should not be devoid of truth. We are living in a post-truth society, and I think that is a recipe for disaster. So anyway, do watch that show. So now I'll be happy to read some of your comments, especially those who are members of Conversations. If you're not, do consider becoming a member, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it widely. So good morning to you, Sabun. Hello, Nilesh. Yes, Saurya Bhattacharya has a comment. He says, I have a doubt. If Hamas agrees to the peace plan, I still have a big doubt. It could be eyewash only to somehow allow Trump to grab his big prize. Once he gets that, fighting will resume. Oh, no, no, it's not going to be that easy. The prize is not going to be announced right away. So there will be months. I don't know whether he will get prize for 2026, 27. I don't even know whether the price for 25 has been announced. But anyway, uh, uh, once Hamas agrees and it hands over control of Gaza to an international stabilization force, going back to fighting is not that easy, because there will be some mechanism by which they will be disarmed. And they are going to have a problem, because the stabilization force is probably, there will be some Qatari, probably Egyptian, Saudi, and United Arab Emirates forces in the stabilization force, besides Turkey or in Pakistanis in it. So if Hamas will now be controlled by Muslim forces, and if Hamas targets them, these are also the countries that support and provide a lot of financial aid to Gaza. So it will be basically chopping its own legs. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I do think that this is a major step forward. Unless Israel breaks it immediately and then continues with its genocide, then we are back to where we were without hostages. That's all. Uh, okay. Apparently, someone didn't like the thumbnail. That's fine. I know. It is very sad. It's very sad. What it is a tragedy, and this particular genocide has been committed by democracies, not just Israel and the U.S., but Israel, U.S., Canada, Germany, Great Britain. These are the countries that have played the major role in this genocide. And so that really raises several questions about the ethics and morality of our society. Yes, the military chiefs in India are making all kinds of statements. Now the Air Force chief says that 10 to 12 Pakistani planes were downed, made in America and made in China. I don't know what's wrong with the Air Force chief. First he said, a couple of months ago, he said 5 to 7, I think, and now it's 10 to 12. I guess next month he's going to announce that India down some 25 Pakistani planes, and maybe by next year it'll be 1,000 planes. I don't know what's going on with the Indian Air Force chief. And so these statements are, I think, coming. I mean, there's some politics behind this narrative, because they feel that they need to shore up the achievements of the military, especially given the fact that Donald Trump keeps praising Asim Munir and the Pakistani military general, the field marshal, actually now is getting so much attention worldwide, while no one talks about Indian army or Indian military people at all. Even at home, nobody's talking about the valor or glory of anybody about Operation Sindhu. It's only about Modi or not. Those who are saying, okay, this was a bad decision, and then there are some people just glorifying Modi, but not really. There are no heroes on the Indian military side in Operation Sindoor. So I think the military is trying to shore up its own narrative, I guess. Adam, yes, if it holds, like if the fighting stops tomorrow, and then there is no more fighting for a year, I would also be happy to recommend him for, especially if the aid goes through to the Palestinians who are suffering. To me, that is number one priority right now. Most of the Arab and Muslim countries do that. Okay. Tarun, yes, I will, but you must become member of Conversation. These kind of requests are the privilege of only members of Conversations. So please become a member, share this video widely. Thank you, Sabun, for your comments. Yeah, this is coming soon. Maybe tomorrow, sometime in the afternoon, I will make comments about it. So anyway, if there are no more questions or comments about the peace process, Well, let's pray that peace prevails eventually in the Middle East, or prevails soon in the Middle East. So everybody, thank you for watching conversation. Do watch my talk on truth that I have posted, and do like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video widely. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.